Normal behavior is, I hate stating the obvious, but sometimes it has to be said. Whose definition of normal are we talking about? So that's imperative. So I cannot give a definitive of what normal behavior is, because it depends on the where you are and and who is judging it as being normal. Having said that, there are common rules in our society that we all know about, so I think we can all agree that it would be abnormal if Mr. Dobie came to school one day wearing a monkey outfit. That might be considered abnormal, I suppose. There are certain rules that we kind of agree upon.
What are those rules?
What are those rules? Well, it's many, I suppose.
Give us one.
Of what a normal behavior, a rule. Okay, well, a common behavior that I think most humans would agree is normal would be to have a difficult time being punched in the face and knocked on the ground and then get up again, and then hit in the face and get up again, hit in the face and get up again, hit in the face and get up again. That would be hard. That's a weird example, but I'm just you asked. So I mean that would be abnormal to be able to do that after 20 times, I guess.
It could be figuratively, right?
Figuratively, yes.
Okay. Who should decide what is normal and abnormal behavior is and why?
Again, you're premising your question with I think a preconceived idea that there should be a instrument or a panel of people of saying, when you use the word who should decide, use those words. I mean, I would argue that ultimately individuals should be able to be comfortable in their skin. Individually, am I living my life according to my code of conduct? So there's that balance of, am I following what I think is right and wrong? And then I have to be aware of what society thinks is weird and not weird. So I guess we have to all balance that sort of thing of like having our individual characteristics come out, but then, understanding that society is going to judge you. There'll be people in society that'll judge you sometimes harshly if you don't fall within their ideas of rules. So I don't think. Then I have to be aware of what society thinks is weird and not weird. So I guess we have to all balance that sort of thing of like having our individual characteristics come out, but then, understanding that society is going to judge you. There will be people in society that'll judge you sometimes harshly if you don't fall within their ideas of rules. So I don't think should. I mean, when you say who should decide what normal is, I think it's a matter of the reality of society does it, and it does it because for reasons that I can't quite figure out always, people tend to pack up, and if the majority of the people are feeling a certain way, it's just easier to be a part of that group's opinion and to fall in line, as opposed to taking the risk of standing out and being different. So I think it's not a matter of should, I think it's a matter of how it just happens.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
This is that ice cold Michelle fight for that.
Normal behavior is when someone behaves like the social norms tell you to behave, and when you don't have any psychological disorder or any different mental illness.
Can you give me an example?
Schizophrenia or OCD.
No, like a normal behavior.
Oh, a normal behavior. I don't know, just reacting to normal emotions. Like if something bad happens to you, it's normal to cry. Or if something good happens to you, it's normal to be happy or be a good friend. Don't have bipolarity.
Break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah.
I would say abnormal is the opposite of normal, but not necessarily because of the social norms, but probably because you have a psychological disorder, like it told you OCDs or something, or So I think you're having abnormal behavior when not only you behave different from from your social environment, but also when you have something that makes you behave in that way. Like I don't know, like schizophrenia people have hallucinations, etc. So they don't behave as a normal person because they simply can't. They see things differently. They don't have normal like balances in their brain.
Okay, who should decide what is normal and abnormal behavior is and why?
I think when it comes to social norms, it's very subjective. You decide like when something's normal, when something's not normal. I mean, everybody has an opinion, but when it comes to psychological terms, I think psychologists or psychiatrists can decide whether or not it's normal because probably have like I don't know higher levels of certain hormone or something or neurotransmitter or something that will confirm if you have something different from somebody else and probably you need help to not only be normal but to live a better life.
Okay, thank you.
Don't believe me, just watch. Come on.
Are there any responses you agree with or disagree with?
Like I agree with what Mr. Dobie said that nobody can decide what's normal and what's abnormal in society because first you have to feel comfortable in your own skin.
Who should decide what normal and abnormal behavior is?
I think personally, like at the end of the day, you decide like on yourself what is abnormal and normal because what, for example, what Marcela can perceive as abnormal, I can just see it as something normal. But today, I think in this society already has it like already played for us. Like society has shaped like what is normal and what is abnormal. And I think when you have like an abnormal condition, this is where like a psychologist or a psychiatrist comes into play. So, but like in general, we as a human being decide if this is normal or abnormal because it depends on us.
Are there common themes in the responses?
I think that Mr. Dobie, as the vice principal, he didn't want to say anything offensive because it's not his job to do it. He's supposed to present this positive image. So he did not as clearly define as what normal and normal is. I feel like he was just telling us without actually telling us that society is what tells us what normal is. And while on the other hand, Sophia, she clearly defined that abnormality is more biological. Like she said, schizophrenia and OCD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Schizophrenia and OCD, and those are what society like look at these individuals with these diseases as abnormal. So what she clearly told us that society gives the definition of what abnormal and normal is, and abnormal is basically psychological. Whereas Mr. Dobie, he told us without telling us that that's the same thing, but he didn't clearly define it.
Also, like when they give examples, they have like the same concept in their minds, like what's normal. For example, normal for them is like the emotions, what you feel, how you react, and abnormal is like, for example, what Mr. Dobie said, that if he one day came like dressed as a monkey, it will be something abnormal for us because we're not used to that concept, we're not used to that image about him. And yeah, I mean, they have all the same concept, they say the same ideas, but one is like more expressive about what they think, what he thinks, and then Sophia's more expressive about what she thinks, and then Mr. Dobie tried to stay neutral, as Sam has said.
No, but Sophia said it was biological, whereas Mr. Dobie was just thinking of like more like something a bit more normal than biological, like he cannot control, like something you can control. Whereas Sophia said something people cannot control, which is their disorder.
What examples of normal and abnormal behavior would you add to what your interviews provided?
I think we would all agree on adding about like clear examples on what Mr. Dobie was saying. Like he didn't clearly state like examples about normal and normal behavior. Like I think he could have said something like normal behavior at school is like what? Wearing your uniform, going to class on time. And like abnormal behavior at school. I think he should have specified like examples clearly about like the environment we live in.
Also, I think that when I think of abnormal, I think of like the diseases or disorders of like schizophrenia, anorexia, bulimia, OCD, like all those weird, not weird, but abnormal, that are not like common, or they're not like common actions between us, because so like we don't understand like the whys, like why are people acting this way. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of abnormal. Like it's psychological / biological, and it's like all in, I think it's all in here. So something like normal is something that you would find like in common or regular on like society. So that's the first thing that comes into my mind when I think of abnormal.
So in conclusion, we have decided that what we perceive as a normal behavior is a well-functioned body and mind.
I agree.